Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. In news that I feel like everyone just simply missed, maybe it was just me, on the 9th of August, the Bank for International Settlements, which is usually known as the central bank's central bank, shared a summary of the task force on cross-border payments and expansion from their May 11th meeting, where the bank's General Assembly members announced their commitment to improving cross-border payments and meeting the quantitative targets for cross-border payments approved by the G20. The task force was launched as part of their BIS Committee on Payments and Market Infrastructures. And here's a gigantic tweet. This thing is huge. It's a gigantic tweet right here. And they show themselves putting together puzzle pieces. It's a bit pretentious, but I understand what they're trying to convey. According to the Bank for International Settlements, the PIE task force will enhance cross-border payments by improving access to payment systems, extending payment system operating hours, and establishing connections between different payment systems, including linking messaging aspects with application programming interfaces. If you look at the members of the task force right here, for those of you who are not looking at the screen, some of the members of the task force are MasterCard, SWIFT, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, and you guessed it, Ripple is also there as well with their Director of Payment Operations. This is a very easy one. Ripple has consistently been doing exactly what they said that they were going to do over the course of the last couple of years. We have gotten a large amount of news where people keep announcing or believe that things are happening with Ripple, the company, because of the near end or the finalization of one aspect of the lawsuit between them and the SEC. No, my friend, this has been happening behind the scenes the entire time. Part of the problem is that every time that Ripple, the company, gets incredibly good news, people were usually only focusing on the news about the SEC or something ridiculous that someone else had told them that they would try to believe was the truth, which was usually a lie about the company Ripple. So yeah, like I said, really easy one. Ripple is now officially working with the central bank for international payments. We do not know in what aspect, but I would assume if they're working with MasterCard and other large clearing houses, they're going to be talking about being used in some sort of way. We had news, it was like 10 days ago, maybe somewhere around there, that Ripple is working with another major bank. And there's a lot of news that we heard days after the conclusion of the fact that Judge Torres said that the sale of XRP by the company Ripple did not constitute an unregistered security, that whole thing. That apparently one of the higher-ups in Ripple went on, I believe it was CNBC, and said that they're now in discussions with a couple of banks in the United States to actually use the XRP ledger, to use on-demand liquidity XRP to be able to send money around the world. So this is just kind of I think people are paying attention. I like to believe that they are. I understand that and I get it, because prices aren't pumping. A lot of times people tend to not be as optimistic as they normally would be on other days. But understand that we have a constant flow of good news within the cryptocurrency space. We have a constant amount of incredibly good news for Ripple and XRP as far as it being listed other places, new exchanges, new companies who are using it. We had news also, was it 5 or 6 days ago, that one of the largest conglomerate banks in Japan is also going to be furthering their usage of XRP from SBI Bank. It's constantly everywhere. And I'll say this way. I find it funny very, like, almost like laughingly, like, oh my gosh, my ribs hurt, hilarious, when I keep seeing and discussing this really big news from a handful of coins. This isn't happening for 47 coins out there. It's literally like maybe 6 coins out there that this keeps happening for over and over. And when I see people, I like lurking. Remember that. I like looking at what people are talking about, what the trends are on Twitter, what's happening, what people are buying. And I never see people talking about the coins that are actually doing something and will be even larger than they currently are in the future. It boggles my mind how, this is me. It boggles my mind how little I hear or see people talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. When you talk about you don't like the coin, I'm going to try not to rant here. When you talk about not liking the coin, that's not, and I say this in the nicest way possible, that's not what matters, and no one actually cares. Years ago, there were a number of coins that I didn't like, and it's not that I didn't like them because they were literal garbage and I told you that no one was going to use them. There were other major coins that I was like, listen, I don't like the sound of this coin. I don't like the community, yada, yada. And at some point I was like, it doesn't matter if I like it or not. I look at the actual metrics. Who's using it, what their partnerships are, how big they were before, even if they simply lightly 2x from the previous all-time high. That's a 17x from where we not exclusively talking about XRP, but you want to like in that kind of metric. Usually during a bull run, a lot of these coins tend to do 15, 20, 30x. There are some other random coins that end up doing very well. But to make sure that you ignore the big coins, to me, is crazy. The people on Twitter, and it's a lot of them as well. A lot of times I see people like, listen, I love all of you, but sometimes I see people talking about some coins and I'm like, that coin hasn't gotten news in like 138,000 months. Like no one's talking about that coin. It's kind of like how a lot of people, how you can actively be into the cryptocurrency space and you've been here for 2 cycles and these people don't own 1 million Satoshis. You know what BlackRock and Fidelity, like what they are, right? Regardless of if we get a Bitcoin ETF or not from these companies, you know what the implication of these companies actively being like, we're in Bitcoin now. Do you think that their only thing is to see if they get a Bitcoin ETF and then they'll start accumulating? I don't get it. I sincerely don't understand the mindset. I assume it has to do with kind of like the whole like Pepe kind of thing. Like you can see what the top of the mountain looks like, but you look down and you see grass and you're like, if I pluck this grass, it might become a tree. Like that kind of thing. Like people tend to float to like riskier altcoins sometimes with the potential expectation of the coin maybe potentially doing something over the course of a bull run. But to have no coins from the largest, like it just doesn't make any, it doesn't, it's like getting into stocks and you refuse to own Apple, Coca-Cola, or like any of the other major, it just doesn't, I'm not getting it. So anyway, I held back. I was really trying. I was like, don't go on a rant. The news is Ripple, the company, has officially partnered with the BIS. This is monumentally gigantic news when it comes to like XRP furtherly being used by world banks as a settlement method. Last thing. Answer me completely honestly. XRP's previous all-time high was $3 something or other dollars. It was near $4. If you, during the next bull run, find out that XRP goes to 12, 14, 18 and a half, I mean at the very, very peak, $18, and it could have made you more money than the other coins you were holding, will you be upset? Will you be frustrated or annoyed? Like, will you sit there and think, I should have bought this coin regardless of what I thought about it because I knew that it was going to do well? But you understand what I'm saying? Knowing that you could have made more money from another coin that you didn't buy because someone lied to you on the internet about it, will you be upset with yourself, or like, does your conviction still kind of stay there? I really sincerely do wonder. What do you do, let's say 12 years from now? We passed by 3 halvings. I held up 4 fingers. That was very weird. Passed by 3 halvings. XRP's at $66 in 12 years. Randomly thrown out there, random number. If we're talking about $1 million Bitcoin, why not? $66. Will you be angry? Like, will you be upset? Will you be sour? Will you be like annoyed? I really do wonder, because it's anyway. That's the Ripple is officially working with the central bank. Hope somebody's paying attention. And yeah. Let's move on. Also okay, sure. The 4th edition of a comprehensive report from Coinbase has been released, putting the spotlight on New York as a prime example of cryptocurrency innovation at the state level within the United States. The report delves into the significant strides that New York has made. What? Okay. That New York has, because as far as I understand it, every single time we have a conversation, no coins are allowed there. I just wrote this on Twitter. Hello to my friend. I have a friend in New York who was asking me how to buy, I'm pretty sure it was XRP. There are like so many platforms, like it's just not possible. Like there are multiple coins you just cannot get in New York. So that's not me stepping on it. It's more of the significant strides that New York has taken. It's the only state where you can't get everything. What kind of I get backward strides. I get like skipping backwards. Anyway, strides that New York has made in terms of embracing and adopting cryptocurrencies. What? Shedding light on pivotal milestones achieved in the state's journey towards crypto integration. I feel like they're doing the opposite of what Florida's doing. Florida's no, it's the mayor of Miami. Like they're buying Bitcoin for their city's treasury, and I'm pretty sure every crypto is allowed there. Does anyone know why multiple coins are not allowed in New York? Like exclusively. If you have 50 states, even Hawaii gets a lot of them. Why are they not allowed in New York? Like if anyone actually knows, please shed some light, because I am confusion. Among the key findings highlighted within the Coinbase report is the fact that they say that 1 out of every 5 people in New York actually owns cryptocurrencies. Surprising. This statistic showcases the growing interest and participation in the world of digital assets. Furthermore, the report reveals that a striking 1 in 3 New Yorkers perceive cryptocurrencies as a vehicle for promoting fairness within the financial system. Huh. Okay. This positive. So does that mean that the other 2/3 don't think that? I guess that's what it kind of means. If you have 1/3 of people thinking that crypto is fair, that would mean that the other 2/3 don't understand. Okay. This positive sentiment aligns with their belief that crypto is not only a mode of investment, but also a promising avenue that holds substantial value for the future. An intriguing aspect underscored in the Coinbase report is New York's emergence as a breeding ground for blockchain-centric projects. Okay. The report discloses an impressive figure of 692 blockchain organizations and 800 founders that are currently based in New York State. This thriving ecosystem signifies the state's vibrant and dynamic environment. Blah, 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 New York. Yeah, so apparently New York is the hotspot when it comes to crypto. I apparently stupidly had assumed that other people were moving to other states. I would have also assumed that people would have gone to Puerto Rico because they have a 0% tax rate. That is, zero, the thing below the number one. But alas, here we are. So I'm not there. If you are in New York, is that true? Like if it's five of your friends, could you point to at least one person who actually owns cryptocurrencies there? I don't know. It's good news in as far as like adoption and stuff like that. But I feel like a lot of the news we've been getting before, as far as like high taxation and all these other things that's going on there, maybe it's because it is New York. So like you go there because you want to be able to network and meet with other people who you assume also have money. It's kind of the same like London. Like people go to London because they think they can like make it and get like tons of money there. But that's usually not the case unless you already have money. That's kind of cool. Wow. Coinbase. That's crazy. That's a crazy metric to tell everyone about. I didn't know that people in New York were into crypto. I'm totally shocked. I still want that answer. I still would love to know why nothing is allowed there when it's like, how are you the money capital of the alleged world and you don't allow every single crypto, even like XRP. There are multiple. I have so many questions. If you haven't noticed, that's the Coinbase report says that 1 in every 5 people in New York owns crypto. Fantastic. And yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Also in okay news. With anticipation growing surrounding the likely approval of a full-fledged spot Bitcoin ETF within the United States, ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood has shared her opinion on the probable pattern in which the US SEC will give its approval. I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be very unpopular. I think the likelihood of an actual physical Bitcoin ETF launching within the United States is dropping by like 12% per day. And I mean like a literal 12%. I feel like too many people are thinking that it's going to happen. And when too many people, like the SEC is looking into all of this stuff, and I feel like they're like very grinchy, and they're seeing the actual like, it's not just me before who was like, yeah, it'll probably happen. Look how big Fidelity and BlackRock are. But nearly every company who has put forth a proposal is like talking about how they think it's going to be like approved and things will be good and we're going to have one in the next couple of months and prices are going to go here and Bitcoin's going to do this. And it's just like very odd. Like, I feel like if everyone is thinking that it's going to happen, probably the exact opposite is going to happen. We also had that really weird thing a week ago from the people from Grayscale who announced that they think that, or rather, no. They said that they believe that the US SEC should approve every single physical Bitcoin ETF at the exact same time. And I'm like, do you know who the SEC, like, do you know what they do? Like, do you understand what kind of a company they are? Like they're not going to simply, oh my gosh, the last decade has been terrible for the cryptocurrency market. Let's make sure that we put every single one through at this point. I feel like it's like, I don't want to use the word desperation, but I think these companies are so desperate to kind of get one of these things pushed through. Like, I think they're just kind of saying whatever, comes to their mind at this point. According to her, the SEC, if it plans to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF at all, might be planning to make such a move by approving more than one product at the same time. Her position that multiple ETFs will be approved simultaneously contradicts the generally perceived claim that her firm would be among the first to be approved for a spot Bitcoin ETF. With feedback from the commission, it has already actually happened. For those of you who haven't heard about it, the US SEC has announced that they need more time to look over ARK Invest's 21 shares Bitcoin exchange traded fund application. For those of you who were not here in the long ago, the SEC does the same pattern. And I remember I told you this in April and May. I said it's always the exact same thing. There's a company that comes out who believes that they can get approved for a Bitcoin ETF. They file the paperwork. Other people hear that they have filed paperwork. Everyone piggybacks and launches theirs, or rather tries to get their applications in at the exact same time. The SEC, I believe they have, like 5 or 6 months to actually review the application. It does not take 5 months to read the paperwork, but the SEC says that they need time to look it over. I don't know if they're slow readers. Have you ever seen someone who can read a book in like a day or two? A good 4 days. A good chunky book. It does not take more than roughly around half a year to read maybe 25 pieces of paper. I think we can all agree on that. The SEC always does, after they've read the application, they always say that they need more time. The SEC is actually allowed to extend the application process. I think it's by another couple of months to basically say, oh, we haven't read the entire thing. We're going to go over it one more time just to make sure and see exactly what it says. Part of the problem is that this is actual market manipulation that is taken out by the SEC. Because on the news that, especially years ago, if you tell someone, I need more time to review it, it means you're actually thinking it over. It's very simple. You either say yay or nay. If you don't want to do something, you say no. If you really want something to happen, you say yes. This goes for life. Would you like a piece of cake? No, sir, I would not like a piece of cake. Would you like to go to a party? I would love to go to a party. When you say maybe, especially in something like this financially, it means that you're going to look deeper into it because you found something that's lightly promising, but then, you look further into it. The next step that the US SEC has always taken is, after these couple of months, they come forward and we find out what date their answer is going to happen. And leading up to that, 2 or 3 day period, the cryptocurrency market, usually Bitcoin, rise in price. Why? Because these people took an extra 3, 4, 5 months to read over a couple pages of papers. Meaning that they saw something promising, maybe something had to be altered, but they're getting ready to approve one. And then they always deny it. And then on the day of, Bitcoin's price goes down because people were, for some reason, after 22 times in a row, expecting a yes from the US SEC. So the first part has happened. ARK Invest has received their maybe, and they need an extension now. And the next step is they no. And this is interesting and also lightly sad because Cathie Wood was just in the news saying that she thinks that their application, that is to say the ARK Invest Bitcoin ETF application, was going to be the first that was going to be approved. I don't know how she got to that conclusion. I assume it was a gigantic amount of wishful thinking to assume that the SEC just wasn't going to be their same old special selves and simply give a maybe and then a complete no. It's at this point where, and I don't think anyone's going to get it. If BlackRock or Fidelity gets the yes, of course I'll be elated because we are going to see hundreds of billions of dollars and trillions of dollars enter our market over the next 2 years. I would be elated. As of now, the only thing that I'm realistically looking towards is interest rates no longer rising, so the stock market goes back up, and April when we have Bitcoin's halving. These are the two catalysts that I know for certain are going to move the Bitcoin cryptocurrency market up. Of course, an ETF approval would only we'd be on a ladder just moving completely up, moving straight up. But I know that we will be just fine as a community and as a market. That's where I'm currently standing right now. The SEC is on some really weird magical pixie dust right now where they think they can kind of like shove and like knock everyone out of the way that they think that they should have control over us. And the fact that we got mixed up in the idea that the SEC would ever be fair, or that the SEC should even have the power to actually even greenlight something like this, is just absolutely terrible. But this is just once again currently where we are. I think that Bitcoin and crypto will do exceptionally fine without a Bitcoin ETF. The hunger is still there. We know that these companies are still within the space, but I don't think it's going to happen within the next couple of years. If they actually, I can't imagine the SEC actually doing what every other country has already done. It just doesn't make a lot of sense in my mind. She said, I think the SEC, if it's going to approve a Bitcoin ETF, will approve more than one at once. The ARK Investment Management CEO, and she's the CEO and CIO, said in a recent interview with Bloomberg. So yeah, they have given her the maybe, and they're probably going to do it to the other ones. I think the next one in line is BlackRock. We will be hearing about when they actually have their approval date. It always ends up in the news, and there will be like a countdown for it because a lot of people are expecting it. I said this for many different years, for many different things, especially when it comes from the SEC. Don't hold your breath. The only reason why we got good news from Ripple versus the SEC is because there was a middleman or middlewoman, Judge Torres, being competent and standing in the middle and saying, well, the SEC is wrong, came from a third party. The SEC has all the power here, and I'd know they are not going to make a fair decision because they don't care about anyone, because they want control over the entire cryptocurrency market within the United States. That's the Cathie Wood and subsequently many other people in crypto believe that the SEC is going to approve multiple at the same time. You're in for a shocking disappointment when that does not happen. And yeah, let's move on. In further news, the U.S. Federal Reserve, the people who print the money, has introduced a new set of guidelines aimed at closely monitoring banks' involvement with cryptocurrencies. The program, which is called Novel Activities Supervision Program, NASP, that's a stupid name, was unveiled on Tuesday, clarifying the central bank's strategy for supervising banks' interaction with digital assets. Yeah, we got that part. As per the announcement, the program will enable the Federal Reserve's specialized experts in the field of digital assets to collaborate with the regular supervisory teams to oversee dealings within the cryptocurrency sector. One of the things that lasted for a long time, we used to also joke about this, the Fed and the top, so I'm stretching, my back, and the top world banks used to come together twice a year to discuss, and it happened every year, to discuss if cryptocurrencies were an actual threat to the world's economy. The idea was the cryptocurrency market was way too small. It would have no effect on the market. They were afraid that if crypto fell in price, would it also cause the stock market and housing prices and other things like that to fall as well? And the answer was constantly a resounding no. If you remember, by the time this year that we got news about Fidelity and BlackRock actively entering the cryptocurrency space for ETFs, we began to get a lot of different countries who were saying that crypto was becoming too big. It needed to be regulated because they were afraid that if cryptocurrencies hit a multi-trillion-dollar market, that is to say a $10 trillion market, what have you, 10, 15, whatever, the numbers people are throwing out there, and the current old economic system is intertwined into it, and crypto fell, would the old system fall as well? So now we're seeing an expansion of this idea from the Fed, but also other central banks around the world. What they're actually looking into all this information right now to see if they basically need to oversee things more. If they need to, and I saw people once again talking about how like this, how do you say it? People being like, oh, I can't believe they would do this, leave crypto alone. And it's like, do you think the Fed is not going to try and maintain their power? Imagine you and your family have had power for 400 years to print paper that you put ink on, and someone across the street makes a brand new system that basically could usurp you and your family. You're going to start throwing rocks. Like there's not a, So of course the Fed and the US government and other countries are trying to do what they can to make sure that they are reeling in crypto and or, regulating it in a certain way. It's just completely logical. In the program, the Federal Reserve is focusing on stable coins with its comprehensive guidance regarding banks' engagement with fiat digital currencies. There was something a couple of days ago as well. A number of people, senators, I don't know, within the United States announced that they are lightly against PayPal's stablecoin. And it's mainly because it's the same exact thing as Facebook's coin. For those of you who were here years ago, when Facebook said they were making a cryptocurrency, everyone laughed until I made a video and I was like, hey, you realize that they're like trying to become the world's largest bank. Like they have over 1 billion people on their platform. That means 1 billion people would be able to use their coin. They become the largest bank. We also had indications that allegedly Facebook had allegedly been talking to a number of countries, like African and Latin American countries, and people were like, maybe they're getting them in debt. For those of you who haven't been paying attention to the news, China's doing the exact same thing. They're going to these countries, like this is happening right now. You can Google it, like you can YouTube video watch it. They're going to different countries that have a very low GDP or a lower GDP than them. And they're saying, hey, we'll help you build your infrastructure. We'll build you high-speed rail. We'll build you houses and homes and offices and cities. Just be in debt to us for 30 years and pay the money back. But the amount of money that has to be paid back is so astronomically high. These countries, we know for a fact, will never be able to pay China back. And it's done on purpose. Because if you don't pay back your loan, what happens to the person who gave you the loan? They own it. So they will own these countries. It's been in the works for a very long time. They're not the only country doing this, but they're the largest one who's currently doing it right now. So under the allegations that Facebook allegedly had been talking with a number of countries as well who have relatively low GDPs, we received news during these hearings and stuff like that they were having. Have you been talking to a number of countries? And the idea was that if their infrastructure is bad, you as a company would be able to tell them, hey, we have this new coin. If you make it legal in your country, we'll help you build stuff. If you make it legal tender alongside your normal currency, we'll give you, even more help than you had before. This is why, remember that it was like a weird pie chart kind of thing. It was a circular chart of all the companies who had initially latched on to Facebook coin the week it was announced. And it was like Lyft and Uber and like all these like big companies. And I was like, you can get people to use that coin immediately. Imagine you open up Uber. Imagine you go into Whole Foods. Imagine you go into some other store and you walk into that store and you get a beep because our phones know our geolocation. And it says, hey, if you pay in Facebook dollars, you get a 15% discount. You would be using Facebook dollars all the time. So the idea holds as well for PayPal. PayPal's not a small company. PayPal's one of the largest like payment companies on the planet. And they've made their own stablecoin, not because they're trying to be down and they're trying to be cool, with everyone in crypto. No, they're doing it because they're trying to like also become their own banking system. Like everyone wants to become their own bank. So anyway, yeah, the Fed has announced that they're trying to like hyper oversee a lot of more things that are happening within the cryptocurrency space. Stable coins have now taken off a lot of the heat that we had before because it used to exclusively just be on Bitcoin. And now it's mainly on stable coins like Tether, the PayPal coin, and sometimes on the Circle US dollar. from Coinbase, basically revolving around the idea that they may be trying to take over the world and or become gigantic banks with what they're doing. So it just seems completely logical. I would love if people stopped freaking out every single time that a major entity or the Fed or a government did something against crypto. They don't like us in the first place. So of course they're going to be doing stuff. And now with the idea that banks could, like, I assume PayPal didn't launch this because they're like, we want to help normal people. They've probably been talking to banks and entities for a while now. If we make this coin, would you use it? How could you use it? Who could benefit from this? How do we all benefit? How do we make the most amount of money from this? Yeah, that's the Fed is launching a new program to basically look at crypto and stable coins because remember, hundreds with an S of banks within the United States are trying to use crypto now. Like, remember Bitcoin and Ethereum? How they were all trying to get licenses to use them? Okay. Let's move on. As always, a very big thank you to my Patreon supporters, Jimmy, American Crypto Academy, Bodie McBoatface, Sam Ratter, Dotha Diddy, Manny Cryptos, Crypto Gambino, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Jamie Saad, and let's move on. Empire Queen, Roman Gaba, Bitcoin Ben Arachno, Dave the Dealer, Zen, Captain Summing in the Z-Way, Lay, Mo Barazi, BB Nerd 21, Lauren De Silva, Quoted Biddy, Troy Allgood, Space Case, Need a Miracle, Paternoster, Navarro Williams, Utopia 569, Moonman High XRP, Nost, Roma John Sarson, The Animal Reader, Bibliophobia, Adam Grace, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy 3D, Setsuna, Paxis, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Yes to Crypto, Anytime Fitness, Monks, Corner Staff, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger, Macho Nisa, and On Crypto with Lionel. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to everyone who is a member of the channel. Thank you to everyone who left a like, who left a comment, or who has subscribed. I do hope that you've all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. Bitcoin has over 200,000 pending transactions. That's insane. They really got to get that together. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and or supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.